Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. I've just been helping my missus move into a new house, so just like
That's always fun, isn't it? Moving house.
oh man, oh I tell you, like it's like it's not the way I would do it, like because I'm a simple person, like
Yeah, me
I've
too.
only
Yeah,
got I've only got like probably like one cupboard full of clothes, but
yeah. I
like
bet the rest of the house is camera gear, isn't it?
yeah, that's it, man. Like it's camera gear or it's like stuff that I've picked up that I've always thought, oh, I could use that in a film one day, and
Yeah,
it
yeah.
just sits
Props.
there
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
yeah, and
Oh
it
my
sits
god,
there for
that's
like
so
10 years.
true. I've got mobile phones from the 90s, right? I thought, yeah, that'll make a great prop. And then I've got a
Yeah.
box full of old mobile phones, you know?
Oh no. Do you know what
So
though? They're always useful though, actually. Like
yeah.
especially like sci-fi like stuff
Yeah,
because you can
yeah,
always take
yeah.
the buttons out or
Yeah,
take the
that's
phone
true.
apart.
That's true. Yeah, taking the face off, putting something else on it, it'll look completely different. Yeah.
What?
Bal, yeah, thanks for joining me on the Filmmakers podcast. Um, First question is, how did you find out about the festival?
I've just seen you on Instagram, so
Was that
I'm
through
quite
looking for a hashtag?
yeah. Basically, what it was is I I seen one of my friends, one of my like fellow filmmakers, following your festival,
Okay.
and I think it was the tag isolation because obviously we're going through all this pandemic stuff. So
Yeah.
and it just popped up and I was like, oh, and then yeah, I saw the page and I seen some of the films and sort of just the stuff that you're doing and it looked like my right down my sort of street.
Yeah.
And I seen as well like that you got quite a range of different sort of films.
Yeah.
Um,
It's thanks to you actually, Bal. That we've got this is a good thing, not a punishment. That we've got the longer category. So thanks to you for that, and that's kind of opened it up to a lot more people.
yeah,
So last year we had a 1 to 3 minute rule, but it was kind of broken a lot of the time. So we
yeah,
had it's 1 to 3 minutes, but 4 in total for short
yeah,
films because of credits, and the same thing with 1 to 10 minutes. It's actually 11 minutes.
yeah,
People realize that when they go on the website and look at the T's and C's and all of that.
yeah,
But yeah, it's the thing that caught my eye about your film was the mask of the
yeah,
Mother Mortis. So yeah, it's really right up my alley. I don't know if you
yeah.
know about the other festival that I run called Hellbound.
Yeah, that's where we spoke.
Oh, that's where it was. Is that where it was?
Yeah,
Right.
because what it was obviously I saw Hellbound. I seen Isolation,
Yeah.
and then I looked at it, and then I seen the Hellbound Film Fest as well, sort of come up in my like, suggested, and I was like, oh, that's straight up
Really?
my
That's
street.
great.
Yeah,
That's really great. Because
because
you don't know how this thing works. You've got to be like an alchemist or something mixing potions, to get the SEO right of your website and all of that nonsense.
but
So
I think like it's real difficult because like with Insta, you got to just learn it as you go along. Like I didn't know any even about the hashtag thing,
oh
and
my
I'm not
god, yeah.
really a big social media person. But obviously, when I seen Hellbound,
Yeah.
immediately like I was like Clive Barker, Hellbound Heart, Pinhead, Hellraiser, and I was like, I need to apply for this festival.
Yeah,
I was like,
Pinhead's just there.
yeah, I can
That
see
poster's
it.
from year 2000 actually, and it's
Oh wow,
signed by Chucky, Robert Englund, Tommy Lee Wallace that plays Michael Myers. I think it's Tommy Lee Wallace and
wow,
Ken Kersinger who played Jason Voorhees, but from Freddy versus Jason.
yeah.
I'd love to get Anthony Hopkins and
That
Doug Bradley to sign it, but it's nigh on impossible. Doug Bradley might be a bit easier, but Tony Hopkins to sign that would be epic,
But do you know what the thing is? That is like a horror fan's wet dream. Like,
Oh
the
yeah,
fact that
yeah,
you've got so many signatures on it as
yeah.
it is.
It's fun. It
Like,
was fun getting them. And Robert Englund, who plays Freddy Krueger, he goes to all these conventions and that's where I got Brad Dourif's autograph as well, because he was
wow.
promoting Two Towers, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So he was promoting that back in the day, and Andy Serkis was there, who's a top dude as well.
Yeah, he's
I've got
great.
this one here is a John Carpenter 2016 a European tour poster, and they were sold in the is it Victoria State, whatever there's a small venue in Manchester, and there was like a limited edition print pre-signed by him. I didn't meet him. I thought, yeah, I have to have that. I don't care how much it is. I've got to get it. And this is from a re-release of The Third Man, not the original poster, because that'll be worth a fortune.
Wow. That's nice. That's
from 99. Because I used to work at cinema, you see. So
wicked.
there's always bitter warfare to get certain posters and that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've seen that as well in your Instagram post, the Hellbound Film Festival, that you put up a story where it showed like all your
that's around the office. Yeah. Like I worked in the same building as Danny Boyle when he was working on Sunshine. So I actually got someone to send me my poster from here down to London, and I got him to sign it at the post-production place in London. So, and he was such a good dude. And yeah, I met him. He was getting stressed out about the special effects of Sunshine because it was costing so much money. He wasn't used to huge budgets, obviously, apart from the beach. So yeah, he signed that, and that's a quad poster. So these sides, that's the UK poster, 30 by 40 inches. So yeah, I'm a massive film fan like yourself, and horror more and more. And yeah, Hellbound's like a real passion project of mine in many ways, because I love horror. And we got amazing judges for that last year. We got so lucky.
Yeah, see, I'm waiting now because, like, obviously, I know that, like, you know, that one's finished. So I've got to wait for now when you open.
Yeah, you're more than if you want to submit this Mother Mortis to Hellbound, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, well, I've
got something else.
I've made Mother Mortis #2 now.
Oh, awesome!
And we just finished filming that.
Oh, you're doing a franchise. That's great.
And Mother Mortis 2 is like really like stepping the levels up, where like there's a lot of blood. It's a bloodbath. There's a lot of blood. There's a lot of SFX, and it's a bit more intense. Where like Mother Mortis was like
a setup kind of thing.
Yeah. But obviously John Carpenter, he's my favorite director.
Oh mate, you and I are going to be long-term friends. That's what's going to happen now. So yeah, he's amazing.
Definitely.
Like everything, now, almost everything apart from like Ghost of Mars, it's all pretty good. The thing for me for that film is Jason Statham's goggles are just like ski goggles that are black, you know. So it's
I think like every director should be allowed at least one suspect film, but obviously Carpenter, he's now making the music, isn't he? He's making Lost.
Yeah, Lost Soul. Amazing,
and all that, and I like that. Like,
I'm all down for that. I think I've got all of them now. I used to buy a lot of CDs, but I've got all the iTunes. And as soon as I see a new album, is it not Bag of Bones? What's it called? Lost Themes. I buy all of those because it's almost like you know how people listen to a whale song when they go to sleep.
Yeah,
I love listening to that to go to sleep. You know, like a nod off straight away, but in a good way. You know, Bal. Tell me a little bit about yourself and how you kind of started filmmaking, and where did the kind of passion start?
I've always been interested in it, like since like a child, really, but I never had the opportunity. I went to uni and I did a different degree and went down a different profession. I actually, went down law and was in the legal sector, working there for a few years, for about 8-9 years. And I was like, I always wanted to write, and writing was where it really led me into it. And I wasn't a director or anything, but I was always very in awe of how the directors put everything together. And the way I actually started was, I always used to write loads of short stories and stuff. And my teachers at school, when we have parents' evening, really were trying to push me into like English and creative writing and stuff like that. And I didn't really have the guts to like actually do it, and the know-how or the belief in myself. And the way I actually took the first step was my dad had a heart attack in 2015, and I went to go see him when he was in hospital. And we had a little chat between ourselves, and I told him, you know, I'm really depressed working in the legal field. You know, I don't feel like I'm like following my like path. And my dad, like, obviously, like, you know, he was in critical condition at that point. You know, and he said to me, you know, like, as cliched as it sounds, he said, like, you don't want to be like in this position like me, like thinking, oh, you know, like thinking, oh, I wish I'd done this, I wish I'd done this, I wish I'd done this. So when I left the hospital, I just made a promise to myself that I'll start making films no matter what, like no matter if I get a budget, no matter if anybody watches, no matter if, you know, if it works out or not. And, you know, I come from a working class background, so I was the only person in my like family to like go to uni and stuff like that. And you know, it was difficult.
Was your dad proud of you for going to uni?
Yeah. Like my family was really proud, and obviously I was like the golden son because you know, I was like doing
the golden child, like Eddie Murphy, the golden child.
Yeah, but I was a golden child. I was disguised as a golden child, but I was really the black egg. Like, you know, I was really like, even though I was doing one thing, like I was leading a different life as well, like while I was at uni, you know. And then you know, I started writing. I made my first short film, which was A Friend Amongst Fiends, and that was just like my film school. Like I had no idea what I was doing. I literally had no idea how to write a script, how to direct actors, how to use camera even, and made that, and, you know, did that with like, you know, budget and just learning as I went along.
Absolutely.
And that finished around, I finished making that in 2017, but I put it on the shelf for a year. So for a year, it was
was it finished? Was it finished?
Yeah, it was finished, but like there was something missing, and I couldn't quite put my finger on what it was, and like I didn't feel confident to like put it out with that. So I left it, and you know, I kind of like lost belief in myself, thinking like it's not going to happen.
I've been there. I won't name names of my friends, but I've got friends that don't necessarily subconsciously don't want to finish projects because they don't want to not let's say let go, but they don't think that it's going to be seen as good enough, so they end up not finishing projects in many ways. But you could see how talented these people are, your friends are. So some of it's a fear of being judged and see how other people are going to see it, you know.
Like that was the same for me. Like it was a fear of criticism, it was a fear of failure, it was a fear of, you know, just people not liking it. So then I sat down with my girlfriend and showed it to her, and she gave me some really good tips on like where bits were missing, bits need to be changed. So I then went and re-edited it, and that sort of reignited my like passion for the project. And then I had the edit. And
what was the original length of the film? Did you cut much out?
So the original was about 16 minutes, and now when I went the final edit was 13 minutes. So I cut about 3 minutes out, and I added a few bits from the raw footage and back in to complete the story. And then I started my other project. So I thought, well, I'm going to leave this now because it's ready. I decided that I needed to find someone to make music for it, and then that would be the final touch, and I would send it to festivals. And then while I was looking for music, someone to make music for that, I started casting, probably like a bit of a lunatic, for my first feature film, and that was in 2000 and around about the start of 2019, and that feature film is called Defenders Eternal, and that's basically based on the Norse story of Ragnarok, the fall of the 5 Aesir gods, and it's it's like a epic which I wanted to make. I'm currently editing it. It's going well.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've also got 2 composers who are making music for it. One's in Switzerland, Pat, and another one's here down in London, Aaron. So at the moment, we've got the footage. We're just making the music, and I'm just editing it and doing all the color grading, because I like personally to be able to do as much as possible. I like to write it. Directing it is just, I don't think that anyone else can have the same vision if you've written it.
No, absolutely not. No.
Yeah. And then editing was like my final sort of, I guess, arrow in my quiver, because the way I saw it was that process of post-production, editing it, you know, I need to learn. I need to know how to put it together myself, because I may not be in a position where I can pay an editor, or I've got an editor who can do it, or I give it to the editor and they don't follow my vision. So I just started doing an online course and learning it myself and putting it together. And with that, Defenders Eternal, it's been a long project. It's taken us 3 years since 2019.
Is there any kind of behind the scenes or trailers trailers out there yet?
Yeah, so on my Instagram, at Apotheosis Productions, you can see a lot of clips and stills. I'm putting together a trailer at the moment, which I've been doing sort of the last few weeks.
Cool. If you've finished it before the festival, I'll do you a little favor. We'll put it in the live event if you want. We'll actually
that'd be amazing.
We'll say this is a special presentation of a trailer for one of the filmmakers that submitted, and we'll make it because we did that for the last festival and for Hellbound. We kind of just I like showcasing filmmakers' films and creativity. So I'm happy to help you market that as well.
No, thank you very much. I was planning to send that to you guys. And
you're showing off now with your feature film.
No, the thing is,
it's great, man. I'm really happy for you. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I don't know. How
just a really quick question. I'm really sorry to kind of cut you across, but have you kind of those 3 years you've been in production for? Did you finish the principal photography a couple of years ago, or were you shooting over the 3 years?
No, so the way we did it was, me very naively believed we could film it all in the matter of a weekend or 3 days. And I quickly, and so what happened was I took a massive cast and crew of like 30 actors, 20 crew, everything, all down to Yorkshire, into middle of nowhere, in the middle of summer, right? In August 2019. And I thought, you know, I've planned, I'm ready, I've got a big team, it will go smoothly. No. It rained the first day. We got kicked off our location because we were guerrilla filmmaking, so we had no permission.
What was the kind of location for it? What was the problem with you filming?
So we were on the north.
Too many people?
No, we were on the North York Moors. So the area that we had chosen, it was a nature conservation area where birds were nesting during that time of year. And it was only during that time of year. So I was thinking, why couldn't these birds
did someone turn up in like a van to turf you off? Yeah. You know,
so
someone with a pair of binoculars saw you, didn't like the look of you being creative and having fun, thought you were messing about, and they grassed you up.
So what it actually was we invaded a very, very small, quiet, peaceful Yorkshire town with Vikings. Yeah, people dressed like Vikings, and
that's amazing.
Giant serpent and giants and weapons, and people are going to this tiny little tea house which is meant to serve the village people.
Have you got photos of that?
Yeah, I've got loads.
I want to see photos. Please send photos. That's awesome.
I will definitely send you. Yeah, and then the ranger. So someone obviously had told the ranger who was like patrolling that area, because it's National Trust sort of land. And while we're in the midst of filming like a very complicated introductory scene, we got I seen the ranger's van, and I'm thinking, oh goodness. And then I said to the cameraman, carry on filming. I said, I don't care if he comes, carry on filming, because we can't reshoot this. And we carried on. And then what I did was I edited to cut the Ranger out. And it worked out pretty well. And but what happened is that day it rained so badly that it was so flooded.
Oh wow.
We couldn't film much more.
Right.
And we basically ended up breaking into a few groups, and me giving some of the assistant directors instructions on what to do. And we went and got footage in different areas which were a bit more low key. So we still got footage. But that being the first day of filming, it couldn't have gone much worse. You know, and then what happened was we did another day of filming the next day, and everyone stayed over. Everyone stayed. Some people.
Well, they kind of committed to your idea.
Yeah. Like, you know, I've got a big love for the casting crew of Defenders because they believed in me when I had nothing to show. You know, there was no script. I had a script, but I didn't share it because I was completely paranoid about it. Yeah, and I'd heard from other people that they'd had their script stolen and stuff. So I was obviously in a difficult position where people had come from all over. People had come from Glasgow, London. People had even come from Spain and Italy and stuff like that to film. And they were like, "What are we filming?" And I was like, "Believe in me. Just believe in me." But that's not too good to do when you're a director, but no one knows you, and you've not made any films that no one knows. And so
how those people that came over from all over, how did you kind of sell yourself to them in terms of your idea?
So I didn't have a budget except for what I could afford myself personally, and that wasn't much at that point. And I basically sold the idea from pitching them the audition material, which they sent to me, and then speaking to each person about the film, the idea, what I had envisioned, what my plan was for it to get out to festivals, and the fact that, you know, I was like very ambitious with it. People believed, and I was lucky, really.
That's
like,
awesome, you know, the stars aligned for you, it sounds like.
Yeah, there was no real magic. Like I didn't do anything magically to do it. Like I had a lot of people drop out through the project over the 3 years.
Oh, okay.
But the core people remained. And
did you have to recast anyone for those?
Yeah. Sometimes it was me asking people to step off, maybe because they were disruptive, not right for the role, not dedicated enough. Yeah. On other occasions, it was people who maybe lost belief that the project would get finished.
And you could sense that in them.
Yeah, and the thing is, you know, one bad energy actor bringing bad energy infects everybody like the plague, you know.
100%.
So I tried to keep it. You know, I tried to keep it after the first day of failure filming. I tried to keep the boat afloat. You know, we had another day to film after that, and we did get really good footage. And some people stayed, some people went, and the people that stayed got brilliant footage, which, you know, we've not even been able to really replicate that feeling. And the people that left got written out of the script or came later on to film more. So is that dedication? You know, like I'm looking for an actor
totally
who like wants to do this, like, and is willing to get wet, not be fed, get tired, be put through their paces, be angry with me. I don't care as long as it looks good at the end.
Yeah. I really respect that determination, and you dragged everyone through, and you're wearing many hats, directing, wanting certain frame, you know, the shots to look as they are, thinking about your editing because you know you shoot to edit and all of that. So yeah, it sounds like a really interesting project. Is there your webcam seems to go off every?
Yeah, I think it's just because my Zoom is trying to update, but I keep having to cancel it.
Right, okay. But yeah, it sounds really fascinating. And yeah, very happy to kind of help you with that. And because I always kind of want to acknowledge filmmakers and that kind of thing. So yeah, very happy to kind of just definitely, you know, look forward to watching it in the future. So
yeah, I'm planning to hopefully finish it by the end of this year and send it to festivals next year. It's just awesome, because we realized we can't rush it. You know, there's still a lot of work to do, like color grading each scene. I want to do by hand.
You
myself.
gotta match it all. Yeah.
It's completely not a nightmare.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's a few shots, there's a few scenes that I need to reshoot. There's a few bits that we need to get better. So yeah.
So just to kind of take it back to Mother Mortis, where did that kind of idea come from?
So it was really a brainchild of myself and the actor that plays Mother Mortis, Jay Adams, who's also in his own right a very talented writer and composer. He made the music for Mother Mortis as well, and it came with basically me and him were having a conversation, and we were just thinking like slasher horror films have really lost their way. You know, we're both fans, me and Jay, of 80s and 90s like slasher horrors.
It's the best. It's the best.
Yeah, and we grew up on that. So, you know, we just thought we want to make a homage in our own minds of what we would want a slasher to be. And also we really wanted to create something which would shock an audience, which would be violent, which would be that will stick with people. And we found it real difficult because you know, I tried to make films that I would like to watch myself, and I know that's probably not the best way when it comes
I'd say you got to enjoy what you do, and you got to enjoy the genre. Otherwise you'll end up getting frustrated with what you produce. So yeah, I think it's the right thing. You've got to be a fan of at least the genre. You know, so yeah, it's I really enjoyed it. I know a lot of people it's gonna be not divisive. It's gonna be, I know a lot of people are gonna really enjoy it, and I really like the kind of Mother Mortis, the look. I really like the look. It's really different. So where did that without kind of too many spoilers, and because I know there's images and stuff and all of that online, but where did that kind of, what's the genesis of the look for Mother Mortis?
So the way it came about was we were trying to put together something which was like you know, unique, and which would also deal with the idea of gender dysphoria, which is where somebody who's born one gender identifies as a different gender. And that's all really a lot about the psychological background on the character of Mother Mortis. And what we did was Jay brought a mask for a different project, and that mask was from somewhere abroad online, and it wasn't very good. So one day he sent me a picture where he had turned it inside out, and
he's done the John Carpenter thing, hasn't he?
Yeah, and he had turned it inside out, and he had put the wig on it, and he had brought this dress, and it just looked perfect. And he gave me the idea. He said, you know, I want to make this with this outfit, and you know, and then it started the process of me writing the script, and me and Jay working together to formulate the idea. And then what happened was when we went to film, the script quickly went out the window, and it was.
What was the kind of reasoning behind that?
It was because, number one, we were running out of the ability to film what was really there on the script. It wasn't practical. You know, what was in the script was not practical for what we had, with basically me as the entire film crew doing everything, and then 3 actors.
It's
And
it's exhausting, that without people to bounce off at least ideas and to help you carry tripods and all of that. It can be disheartening, when you try and go and shoot something yourself. It can be really disheartening. So it was the kind of practicalities and logistics of everything.
Yeah, and then we started doing the script, and then it just didn't feel right. And I said to the guys, just trust me. Like, I've got the shots in my mind. The storyline isn't very complex, and we had the script there, like in my bag and stuff, but we didn't really look at it. And the actors all know me from previous shoots, and we really just we just had a great synergy on that day. And like, everything just went right. And it's one of those days where there's some days where you film and you can plan to high hell and it goes completely pear-shaped, and then there's other days where you don't plan as much, but things just drop into place. The location in which we were filming was very dangerous, was off limit.
It looked like it.
Yeah, we shouldn't have been in there. It was one of these places where you enter at your own risk, and the roof could cave in on your head any moment. So,
yeah, I shot a promo for a small company, and it was in a car park. I think you can find the video on my Instagram, and we shouldn't have filmed there. It was actually a derelict, the car park, but the graffiti on the walls was amazing. It was like the graffiti in Candyman. It just looked cool, but it's super dangerous.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's why a small crew. That's why it worked in some ways. It was you on your own, because you get, like you said about the feature film. It's you don't want people whining. You don't want people complaining, because you just need your vision to kind of out. So.
That's it. I realized, like, short films I can do, I can do it by myself, but features you can't, because there's so many moving parts. You want to be able to rely on those around you, and it's like
commitment. Yeah, commitment's so number one, really.
But I must admit, me personally, I do enjoy doing feature and working with a big crew. Like, my crew is fantastic, and but I do really, really enjoy, like, run and gun filmmaking is what I call it, is where I get my camera, I get my gimbal, I've got minimal, like, equipment, and I go out and just make something.
It's fun as well. It's fun.
Yeah. It's really
so what kind of what camera, what kind of gimbal, what kind of equipment do you use? Before you answer that, was that photograph you sent to me, was that you on Mother Mortis?
No, that was me on Defenders, filming.
You looked exhausted in that picture.
yeah. I think, like, that day was difficult because we had, like, a lot of, like, special effects shots. Like, I only film, like, I try majority to only film practical effects, because that's, like, my love. Like, the Thing, Rob Bottin,
oh my god,
all those people are my idols, really. So I love the practical effects, and obviously me and Jay work really well together, because he makes a lot of prosthetics and does a lot of practical effects, which you'll see in Mother Mortis.
Awesome, yeah.
Because he's done all the SFX in Mortis too. But yeah, equipment wise, I use a DJI Ronin gimbal. Which I find really, really, really good. I also
is it a Ronin S or an SC or?
It's an SC. So it's a lighter load.
So it's like one half of one of these, isn't it?
Yeah.
This looks like something from James Bond he'd kill someone with a gun.
Yeah.
It looks like I was using one yesterday. It's I wouldn't ever change it. It.
It's brilliant. Like, I have used, is it the Xeon Crane as well, which is good.
Yeah.
But I just find compatibility wise,
and the software's amazing.
Yeah, and I like DJI. I think it's great. So that's what I use. I do a lot of handheld as well because I feel like, you know, sometimes you don't get the right feel with the gimbal. It's too smooth.
Yeah.
And I want a bit of jerk and human movement. So I've been doing more handheld. And then I obviously have my tripod. And then I also use a Zoom recorder for sound, which is the HN. Well, I had a HN1. I've got a HN4 now.
Yeah, nice.
Which is nice. It's very good for sound. Obviously, that's something that filmmakers a lot of the time don't concentrate on, especially for the shorts. So yeah, for that. And then also I have my camera, which I've got 2 cameras, both Lumix. I've got the JH5, GH5, sorry, which is great, which is a workhorse. And then I've also
amazing,
got, yeah, and then I've got the G90 as well, which is
that's really good. On your GH5, do you use a speed booster or do you kind of just use native lenses?
Yes, no, I do use speed booster. I just find you know, it's just much easier to work practically on the field with that.
Yeah, it's much better for kind of lower light and all sorts. Because, you know, like this is a Pocket 4K. I use my proper camera as a webcam as well, and I've got the speed booster. It's only the cheap Viltrox, but it's like it makes a
massive difference.
Yeah, and the image is great. It's almost full frame. It's a similar thing with the GH5. It's just so much nicer.
Yeah, see, I was.
Yeah, because I've still only got EF lenses. You know, I shoot everything on EF, and I've had them. I do need to step up my lens game. I've stepped up my lighting game and microphones and all of that. But yeah, it's lenses are, you know, expensive, and I've got vintage lenses as well.
I like vintage lenses.
This is one of the best lenses I have. This isn't the vintage lens I've got on here. This is from the Ukraine from '83.
Oh, lovely.
It's a 30. Is it 35? 28 mil. Oh no, it's 20 mil. And it's got this huge glass element on the front, so you actually have to have this huge step up ring to 95 millimeter, and then step down just to put a filter on. So this is actually a small rig matte box on this. So I love adapting. This is my favorite lens. This is the Canon 40 mil full frame STM lens, and that's just got some step up rings on it. So that's just the lens there. This is super sharp as well.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Canon. They always bring out solid.
I always look. I'm sure you're agree. You know, we all love anamorphic. I've got anamorphic adapter, which wasn't cheap, and then, you know, we kind of all want to have a certain look. We want character and all of that. There's only so much I'll do in post.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really tricky, but it's fun though. We always, you know, I'm sure you'll agree with me and the people I work with from time to time. It's fun having gear as well, and you get a great understanding and appreciation of how your equipment works, especially when you can just, you know, go and shoot something really quickly.
Yeah, I think like at the moment, obviously, like you said, anamorphic is great. They've got a few quite good ones for the MFT, the Micro Four Thirds.
Yeah, the Ciru.
Yeah, that's the one. And my DOP, he's a big fan of Lumix as well. So we all.
That's a good pairing up, those two.
Yeah, and then I also shot Mother Mortis 1 and now 2 was using the Camlan 50mm lens, which is very sort of like not very known brand or lens, but I basically just bought it because I knew someone that used it, and they said to me, this is the lens to have if you're out running and gunning and you've got bad light, or you're shooting in rain. And that lens has been like fantastic. Like I've got expensive lenses, and even then they just stay in the bag. Like I keep that camlan when I'm running and gunning.
What's the range? What's the kind of, is it 35 mil? What f-stop is it?
Yeah, it does 35 mil to 50.
Well, that's a good range. That's a nice range.
Yeah, but I keep it on 35. I'm usually, if I'm shooting, I keep it on 35. I'll rarely put it on 50. I just find that at 35 I get better bokeh. The image just like has a bit more of like a retro sort of look to it. And yeah, that's worked real good. But like you said, like, you know, you can spend so much money on these lenses. Like I seen one lens recently, which I think is called a Vedara, which is on my like bucket list, but it's like $1,000, you know. Like it's either I pay my bills and I eat for a month. So it's like, you know, but I do find you know, indie filmmakers, we really we make the best of what we have.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Just speaking of making the best you have, I can't help but notice that stained glass window, the leaded window in your house.
Yeah.
It just reminds me of Hellraiser.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's like I think it's roses in the stained glass in the Hellraiser house.
Yeah. It's
there's a whole thing with roses and life and all of that.
This is an old house. It's like a Victorian house.
I used to live in a house like that in not far from where I live now, and it used to have leaded windows at the front, and yeah, it's just a bit of character, isn't it? I love that. It's great.
Yeah, you get like a different kind of light through it, because obviously like the stained glass, the lead like filters that light before coming through.
Exactly. Yeah. It feels like there's a church near where I work, and when you go in there or go past there, you get this kind of god lighting through the window.
Yeah.
You get this really nice color cast across the room. It's like, wow, that looks so cool.
Well, I do always like have the moments where, like, if I see a really good scene, like being lighted, like on a film, for example, like recently, one of the films that I've been watching is Tetsuyo the Iron Man, which is
I know it. Yeah,
and you know, that's all black and white, but just looking at how, even though it's black and white, they've lighted it with like using the natural lighting and
have a look at the lighthouse. Have you seen the lighthouse?
I've not seen that. I've heard
the way they shot that, the black and white it feels like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde from the 30s. It has this kind of the darker shadows. It's really, really beautiful film. It's a great film.
Two of my actors who are playing giants, both very big, like 6'10" guys, that were in Defenders Eternal, they've actually been filming for Robert Eggers as well, with his big film that's got Nicole Kidman and stuff in it. So
that's awesome. That's very cool.
Yeah, they've been sort of like, while they're on set, and when they've come back, like saying, "Oh, this is how they did this, and this is how they did this." So
yeah, that's how you learn. You learn so much. Like you learn so much working with on big films. You learn so much shooting stuff yourself, and you know, you learn from like, you know, how to do lighting and having a practical light and having the reasonings behind it. You know, you learn so much just by practice. And I think, you know, filmmakers at a similar level to you and I, it's kind of you just got to start shooting. Like
that's it.
Shooting stuff to camera for this and for Hellbound. I learned so much about how to light myself, and I knew 3-point lighting and all of that, and to do corporate stuff and all that sort of stuff before. But you learn so much about what you like as well, you know?
Yeah, that's it. I think it's finding your voice. Like, you know, it's like, say, being a singer. If everyone sings the same, you know, you're just another number.
Yeah, absolutely,
It's finding that niche.
So finding your, like, what you're not necessarily comfortable in, but what you enjoy doing as well. So who would you say your kind of influences are, and who do you like? What kind of films do you like to watch?
Well, you know, my influences definitely John Carpenter, Wes Craven, Tobe Hooper, the greats when it comes to horror.
Yeah.
Also, other people like David Lynch, massive influence on me. Aleandro Joradovsky, who's probably my favorite after John Carpenter, because of this whole surrealism and the whole themes that he puts in his films. And
yeah, absolutely.
also, Paul Verhoeven. He's
Oh
one of my
yeah,
favorite.
RoboCop, and
RoboCop.
it's like the ultra violence is something really sinister. It's like kind of sexual violence that he puts across, especially when you've got, and like RoboCop. I think RoboCop's really underrated. I think it's brilliant.
Love it.
And it has one of the greatest explosions in any film when that petrol station blows up behind RoboCop.
I think there's a lot of filmmakers as well, that are quite new. Like there's Panos Cosmatos. I never say his name. The guy that made Beyond the Black Rainbow. There's also people like Alexandra Ajay, who made like High Tension.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Ari Aster at the moment. Hereditary.
He's really good. Yeah, he's really good.
It's really, it's like this, not surrealist, but it has this kind of has this certain quality to it. It reminds me of a lot of kind of Wicker Man, not just Midsommar, but in terms of tone, and you're not necessarily sure what's going on. So
it's got that.
Yeah, I'm a big Ari Aster fan. Yeah,
I think the thing is like in this country, we've got such a rich history in the UK.
Massive,
of horror, Hammer horrors. We've got the Carry-Ons, and we've got we've got.
I used to love Carry-Ons. I used to love them. That was I remember my film collection started with Carry-On Sergeant.
Oh, brilliant! Like Carry On Screaming is one of my favorite.
Oh my god, yeah! Films. And like the makeup on the wolf and that, the two, the bigger one and the smaller one,
yeah.
Oh, Carry On! I'm so glad you like the Carry On films. The Carry On, Screaming's brilliant. It is brilliant.
No one's ever replicated like that feel, like
Yeah. And whenever I say Frying Tonight, no one knows what the hell I'm talking about.
No, I do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But great movie. Great movie.
Yeah. And then obviously like there's other newer people like the Hatchet series, which is by Adam Green, who also made Frozen. Very different films. And then there are people like that I'm just only discovering. For example, like, I've been at the moment on a big obsession with watching video nasties. So I'm trying to get through that 72 list of video nasties, and I've watched probably about half of them already. So
I'm going to give you a little a recommendation, a little shout out to a filmmaker that I kind of know a little bit. He submitted a film called Days from last year. It's actually on the it came second place in last year's Isolation Film Festival. The filmmaker's Ian Rayburn. And just Google Ian Rayburn films, and he makes like Driller Killer kind of inspired. He loves horror. He loves the close-ups of a drill going into a skull, that kind of thing. So check out his stuff. He's a really good guy, and he's a very talented filmmaker. His Instagram's brilliant. He did a recent Ghostbusters, not parody, but he kind of shot things with his partner, who's a great actress. Kind of reshot scenes from Ghostbusters, and super talented. Check out his films. He's really, really, really good guy.
Definitely.
But Ian Rayburn films, check him out. You'll love his stuff. And I think he's submitting something this year, and he said he's going to make. I said to him, you can make whatever you want. If you submit something, it's great. And he said he's going to do a Hellraiser fan film. I'm like, bring it on, do it.
Like
Mother Mortis and that, in terms of the horror, and it's going to be great. And we've had submissions all over the world. We've had from India and Iceland for the first time. So it's been really nice to get submissions. And I spoke to a chap called Sab yesterday, and he's from East India, and he was telling me about, obviously, we've all heard the stories about how awful COVID is over there, and he was telling me about that. And his films are a coping mechanism for himself in terms of getting through a situation, and filmmaking can help in so many ways. But yeah, we all love horror. I'm a huge horror fan. That's why you can tell I got all this on the wall. You know.
Yeah.
Let me just quickly show you something here. I'll bring it over now.
Yeah.
I'll end up falling over something now.
Oh wow!
A friend of mine's a 3D kind of modeler. He's super talented painter, and he's Mr. Attention Detail. So if you ever need a weapon making, he doesn't do it very often. He's very, very talented. I think it's called Wave Props. That's on my Instagram. He made this for me.
Oh, the lament configuration! Wow,
well, this is from the second film. You see the brown.
Yes.
And then there's darker sides. He's gone super screen accurate for me.
Amazing,
you can see it holds up really well.
Yeah, that is one of the best that I've seen.
So you've seen the darkness there, and then it's like this wooden here. It's screen accurate to one that's under the cloche, I think it is, under the glass dome, in the office in the second film.
Amazing, that is.
So Wave Props. He's Matt Atherton. He's a top guy, and I asked him to make that last year. I just wanted it.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. That is, like, I've seen one of those which some person in America made, which was like a Rubik's Cube as well.
And that's cool.
I realized there's a massive cult horror audience in America, like Mother Mortis. I think I sent it to 2 or 3 movie critics over there that have got like a big following, and they loved it, and they were saying to me, you need to make a feature. And then we had a podcast as well with another guy recently, me and Jay.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
But I did have a screening yesterday of a few people to show them Mother Mortis Part 2. Just one scene which I'd edited, the torture scene, what I like to call it, and saying they were all horror fans. One of them was sick immediately and sticked up their sandwich on my kitchen floor, and the other one walked out mid through the scene because they didn't want to watch it anymore. So
you were like, yes.
I was like, where's the one that fainted? But me personally, I'm really thankful for people like you that are doing this as well, because you give people like me a voice to show our films to people, and to all our hard work to get it out there. So, you're doing an amazing job.
I appreciate that. It's a lot of work, but it's really worth it. And I can tell you who one of the judges is, and unless it's work related, he should be locked in. So for Hellbound 2 or Hellbounder or something, and ironically, is it Hellbound? Is it the second one, isn't it? Or is it?
It is, yeah, it is, yeah. We interviewed him last year, Jeffrey Reddick, and he created Final Destination. Wow!
So he wrote the first film, and he's the master of the franchise. So he's going to be one of the judges this year.
That's amazing.
Obviously, with work obligations, if something comes up, then things would change. That's
great.
I think so. Yeah, you should definitely submit. I'd because last year I said to people that not to submit the film twice to 2 different festivals that I was running. I founded, and I kind of regret that in certain ways now, because we had some really great horror films last year. But I'm not sure if you've seen the winner of last year's, and it was this vampire film from Spain, and it was really
this
good.
one has won a lot of awards in film festivals.
Yeah,
I've heard.
It's really good, man. It's really, really good.
Yeah, I've really heard good things about it.
If you go to Hellbound's live event, which is still up, it's in the event. It's not on its own. we're not supposed to show it, but
yeah.
but
I'll
yeah,
check that out. I'll definitely check it out.
But yeah, it's we one of the judges last year as well was Ramsey Campbell, and he's Clive Barker's mentor.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've actually read a book about Ramsey Campbell.
He's such a good dude, proper Scouser, really nice guy.
Yeah, and he seems like he's like a very no BS kind of dude. You know, like
he works 6 days a week. He gets up at 6 in. He's been working 6 days a week writing for decades.
Yeah. Well, it shows because obviously.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's kind of like Stephen King in that way, you know, really prolific with his sheer amount of work.
Yeah, without the cocaine and alcohol, though, because, you know, I think Stephen wrote the best stuff when he was high. Like,
yeah,
you know,
absolutely. Yeah.
And like since then, he's been trying to catch that.
Yeah.
And he's never like replicated that. But what it is, like, you have that sweet spot in your career as a filmmaker, as a writer, as a creative person, where you have to harness that sweet, like that maybe between the age of, I don't know, you know, 40 to 50, for example, or 35 to 45. But you have to really like one point that you said earlier is, you know, you have to go out and make it. There's no point writing a fabulous, amazing script. It's not going to get made. Like, you know, it's so hard.
Yeah.
Made.
Less than 1%, you know, in terms of films that get made.
Yeah.
It's so difficult getting anything made. But if you go out and make your feature film, then that's great. And I love the idea of your feature film. It sounds really interesting. So what stage is that at now?
So it's currently in post. So I'm doing the color grading and finalizing all the music for it. And then I've got somebody who's doing the sound mixing as well. So we're just going to get all that ready. Then I'll sit down and I'll probably have a little premiere with a few people and then see what they think. I always try to do that with the film, even if it's just like 2 or 3 people. And I'm lucky because my girlfriend, she is my harshest critic. Like, if there's something that I show, and she'll rip it to shreds, you know, and if she has to resort me to tears, she'll do that. And I'm blessed for that. And I think with Mother Mortis Awakening, I showed it to her, and it's not her type of film. She's not really too big into like horror. She's more sort of into fantasy and stuff like that. But she was like, wow, that's great. She really liked it. So I knew that it was good, like, because if she doesn't give me a lot of stick for it, then I know that I'm going down the right path. But yeah, I just want to keep making stuff, you know, like I'd love to just make every week. I've got about 80 finished scripts, which I've spent probably like the last sort of 4 or 5 years writing. And I find that I write the best very late at night, from 12 midnight till about 3, 4. That's my writing time. Every day I'll sit down during that time. Sometimes I even have a nap, like about 11 till 12, and then I'll write. And that is just the best time because no one's messaging me, no one's ringing, I don't get no emails. I can just get lost in it.
I totally agree with that. And I kind of like I've been party to some kind of like online plays and Star Trek readings and things like that. And most of these things are 2, 3 in the morning because it's all in the evening on East Coast of Canada because of the people I know. And when it gets to 2, 3 in the morning, even though I'm really tired, I get to this weird Zen place because my brain, I feel like I'm floating because I'm so tired, you know, because obviously a long work day and all of that. And then you got this kind of cool, but like when you have those bursts of energy of creativity in the middle of the night, it's the best. Like when you're going to sleep buzzing, you know, you've written something really good or you've watched something amazing. It's that's inspired you. It's nothing can replicate that, especially early door, you know, like super late. Like I love watching Carpenter or even something really, really trashy late at night. And I it's like, it's my cup of tea, you know, I really, really enjoy it. Like I watched this dreadful, I can't remember the name of the film, this dreadful Pierce Brosnan film.
All of them.
It was on Amazon. It was so bad. It was like a TV movie. It was so bad. But I really enjoyed that, and I thought, if this gets made, I can get something made. You know what I mean? That's my attitude to something really terrible. But yeah, I love what like this for me. When I watch The Third Man late at night, I watch it super late because it's not, you know, it's a straightforward narrative, but it's kind of it feels surreal in many ways. But yeah, I think, like you say, when I get to that point late at night, it's so much fun. Like when I do these late, like yesterday, I was speaking to a chap in East India, and it was later than I thought. And then I speak to someone for about a week ago from LA, and it was like 8 hours behind, and he had to have it slightly later, and it was like ended up 2 a.m. But the conversation was so different, you know.
Yeah,
which is really nice, and it's great to speak to like yourself, Bal, from UK, because it's great, you know. It's like we've known for years as well, which is fantastic.
no, like there's so much in common, and it's like, you know,
it's fun, man, isn't it? Yeah,
like, it's really good.
You'll really enjoy. There's a filmmaker, John Clement. You might have seen the picture for his episode. Watch his episodes. It's like almost 2 hours, because we kind of knew each other. He knew about the festival stuff I did. I knew about the actors he's worked with. And it was like our chat now. It was just like as though we've known each other for ages, because it's like, it's almost like a horror thing, you know. If you like horror and you make horror, kind of have this shared bond, you know.
Yeah, like I was watching this film called The Stuff. You've probably already seen it. It's like an old sort of like trashy.
I know it. Yeah.
80s, and I'm a big fan of like watching like the forgotten sort of films, like, you know, like another one which I was watching was Attack of the Mushroom People, Matango, which is
or Life Force. Have you seen Life Force?
I've seen Life Force. Wow. Wow, that's brilliant. And I also seen another one called Insemnoid, which is a bit strange.
Is that on a site? Is that on a base?
Yes, and it's like an alien, like.
And it takes over that blonde woman.
Yeah.
And she has the alien baby. I watched that about a week ago.
Yeah, that's fab. Like
you and I are going to get on very well in the future.
Yeah. And then there's another one as well which I watched, which you like.
Have you seen Outland with Sean Connery?
Yeah, great.
Oh my god, it's so good, so well shot. Yeah, love it.
I like that, and I also liked the miniatures and the way they made all that. But one film that I would definitely recommend, which probably isn't everybody's cup of tea, and I know it's not, is the only film that I've ever watched which I couldn't watch in one sitting. And then around my peers and my friends and my girlfriend, I'm known for the person who likes messed up films. Like Human Centipede 1, 2, and 3, I sit through with a big smile on my face, you know, I'm that sort of. But the worst film I've ever seen is Salo, 120 Days of Sodom by Pier Paolo.
I've heard of that. I think I passed on watching that with someone.
Was so I watched it a few years now, and I brought it on DVD recently, but no one watches it with me. So, but that was literally just real difficult. It's not even that, you know, we become so desensitized to things now.
100%, yeah.
You know, people getting head caved in, people getting this done, that. It doesn't
that's my go-to when I refer to something someone can't watch is head caved in. That's what I always say.
And I was so shocked watching Salo that the film made me feel like that. And then I obviously did a bit of research, and I found out 2 weeks after it was released, the director himself was murdered by an angry mob who thought the film was real. They thought it was a real snuff film.
Yeah.
And we lost a great director. But you know, there's films which stand the test of time. I've also been big on, at the moment, Nonexploitation films, and watching a lot of the trashy exploitation, like it's like they have like the Nazi exploitation films, Gestapo's Last Orgy, and Beast in Heat and stuff like that. And I just like to watch those films because I realize I learn more from watching a trashy film than I do from watching Avengers or Mission Impossible, or I don't learn anything, and I get very, very bored because I literally sit there. If I'm usually watching with my girlfriend, and we'll watch like Avengers, and I'll say to her, "This is going to happen, bing, bish, bash, bosh," and that happens, and I say to her, "Well, what's the point of watching it?"
Because I think I agree with you. I really enjoy watching like Doctor Strange. I love watching the big stuff. You know, I wasn't a huge Doctor Strange fan, but then I fell in love with the character. But yeah, my kind of go-to is the what's his name? Jason Blum horror. I'm not a huge The Purge fan, but I love all the stuff he's producing, because it's giving, you know, like he's talked on exhaustively about giving filmmakers that have had a dip in form a chance to redeem themselves in many ways. So I learn a lot from those kind of filmmakers, and you know, you learn little tricks they do, and more so than you ever learn from a huge superhero film. So I really love kind of like around, you know, the $50 to $60 million thriller and horror, like how was it called? Oh geez, The Possession. I think it's The Possession, with about that box the girl picks up in that flea market on someone's lawn.
Yeah, that's a real good film.
And it's got the Negan from Walking Dead in it. I think I'm sure it's The Possession, and I really enjoyed that. They're my cup of tea. I love that. Oh, The Conjuring. I love The Conjuring. I really appreciate those films, and like you say, you know, you learn a lot from those low budget films, and about technique or about pushing their boundaries. Like look at Carpenter with Halloween. You know, there's so much to love and learn from that. And he was really
I think there's the one thing that I found, with John Carpenter is he is one of the filmmakers that I can watch his films over and over. They Live, I can watch it over and over.
Oh my God,
Thing, I can watch it over and over. Assault on Precinct 13, I can watch it over. It's just I don't know. There's just something magic about it. Like my favorite film of all time is The Thing, because I can watch that every day of the week without getting bored. And even though I know what's going to happen, like I know all the lines, I know everything about that film, but it just always brings something new. And I'm like, oh wait.
What's your favorite moment from the film?
My favorite moment from the film I'd probably have to say,
or favorite moment of shot, or whatever you like.
My favorite is when the dog scene, when the dog transforms, just because I watched that when I was about 7 or 8, and that stuck with me forever.
Especially when the dog's chewing on the wire fence.
And I forever, well, not forever, but for many years, had a real big fear of dogs because of that scene, and I've overcome that fear. But you know, there's just something about it. Obviously, you know, Stan Winston was involved in that scene as well, and Stan Winston, you know, supported like me on Insta and sent me like nice messages and stuff.
That's very cool, man. That's very cool.
Yeah, because they've seen that, like, you know, I like that. That's my idol, and I've done some courses with them online, and they're great. Like you can learn so much.
So
that's
true.
why That's why I say to a lot of people, like, save going to uni and doing a film degree, save spending 30 grand on a film course, and actually practically learn things, like do a Stan Winston course with puppet making, you know.
Absolutely,
do a Stan Winston course on directing film, like horror films, you know. And I've learned a lot from that. What's your favorite moment in The Thing?
I'm not joking. That's exactly what I was thinking about. I was listening to everything you were saying about Stan Winston's school, but I was thinking exactly about that at that moment. My favorite moment, there's everything about the film. It's my favorite Carpenter film by a mile. I think it's a work of genius. He got, we all know the story. He got kind of, I'm going to say it, shat on by critics in that, because E.T. opened up a few weeks earlier, and that's why The Thing did so badly, because everyone loved the cuddly alien, not the one that would just tear you apart. My favorite moment is when what's the chap that listens to the music and skate and roller skates around?
Oh, Knowles.
I think it's not. I think it's Knowles and McCready are up in McCready's cabin, and they look down, and they see someone running across the ice. And like, who's that? And it's like the mystery in this one shot. About they're looking down, the cabin lights are off. It's giving me goosebumps thinking about it now. But they see someone running across the snow inside the outpost, and it's like, oh, fucking hell. Or where they look up at McCready's cabin and say, I didn't leave the light on.
Yeah, that was a great.
Oh, it's just genius.
It reminded me of that was another good scene was when Bennings, the ginger guy with the glasses, went outside, and you see his arm all deformed, and and then they burn him. That was also a scene that really stuck to me. But
it's a work of, okay, who's the first person that gets it then in that silhouette? You know, the silhouette. I'm part of a John Carpenter group on Facebook, and all I ever see is this thing about who the theories and all of that, you know.
See, I personally think that first person that he got was the guy that had the heart attack. What's his name?
I think it's him because of his hair.
Yeah, because of the hair. But what I actually read somewhere that John Carpenter made the actor wear a wig in that scene. So they couldn't tell who it was. But I sort of thought it must be Norris, just because the way he's sitting and he seems like quite like reserved.
And who sabotaged the blood bank?
But also, even in there, it could be Palmer. Do you know the guy that is the backup pilot with the black hair? And do you know what? Like, I would love if I, ever got to that level to make a true sequel to The Thing with obviously.
I really enjoyed the prequel. I know a lot of people didn't. But the reason I liked it so much, it was the one thing I can't remember the and it has the actor that was in Game of Thrones with a big. Yes. He is such a dude. What a wonderful actor. What a great dude. Yeah. Obviously the worst thing is they replaced the puppets with CG. That was the biggest sin of that film, because they didn't believe in it, which is ridiculous. That's why The Thing is so good, because of the practical effects. Yeah. That film is really accurate when it comes to the lore of the original. Not the original, but the original, the 82 one. Yeah. Because the connective tissue is exactly right. The spaceship, everything about it.
Yeah, even the axe in the wall.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, I was jazzed about that. I loved it.
I was so excited when that come out. Yeah. I watched it in the cinema and then watched it again straight afterwards.
Yeah. I love Joel Edgerton. I think he's a brilliant actor, superb actor.
He's underrated. He's very underrated.
When the Blu-ray first came, I think it was the Blu-ray or the DVD. Maybe it was the DVD, because I've got it on Laserdisc as well. I've got a big Laserdisc player. It's ridiculous. But we've all got all the variations of it. The worst version on DVD is the one that uses the video game cover.
Oh yeah,
the Xbox 360 is either the Xbox 360, the Xbox cover,
yeah.
and which I hated. And it was, what's the chap that is the medic? What's he called? I always forget some of the names.
Yeah, Copper. Yeah, the doctor. Yeah.
I didn't realize he had pierced ears until I saw the DVD, because it was the clarity and the details. Like, what the fuck? Because that suggests that, I'm not going to make any assumptions, but he could possibly be gay, and in terms of the different kind of character, and and like just the idea that those little details that weren't there before, or you couldn't see them before.
I like that as well, because in the prequel, she realized that his ears.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly, yeah.
The wrong one. And I also, sorry to go back to it, another scene which I really like in the original 82 version is when Kurt Russell's playing the chess, and she beats him, and he's
cheating bitch.
Cheating bitch, and he puts the drink in. When I saw that, I was like, yeah, I'm going to like this film.
I love how it's just like a little slot. It's like a little slot.
Yeah.
He just pours it in. It's not like a panel you take off. It's just like,
yeah, it's just like, I think Kurt Russell is one of my like dream.
Oh, he's an icon. He's and apparently he's amazing as an individual.
Yeah, apparently great, and Keith David as well.
Yeah, look at that fight scene in They Live.
They Live with Roddy.
Yeah, you know what it is about. I think for me, and I'm going to watch one of them tonight after this.
I think I'm going to as well.
It's the atmosphere. It's the world that Carpenter creates with They Live and The Thing. That if I can get anywhere near creating a world where of those things, like you're living in that science fiction world, like the original series of V.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
There's something great. So tangible and like, I want to be part. Have you listened to the commentary between Kurt Russell and Carpenter of the Thing?
I've not. No,
you've not listened to it.
No, I need to check that.
Have to do that, because they talk about how dangerous, and they're just laughing together and smoking cigars, watching it. It's like you're watching it with them. You have to listen to it or watch it with them. You have to.
I did watch a making of The Thing, and I was just completely amazed by Rob Bottin, who made obviously.
What an absolute genius!
Yeah, and he drove himself to hospital because of how much work he was doing on it. And he was really young, which people didn't. And then obviously he went on to have a great career and made a lot of good stuff. But it's like this. It's like what I realized in making films with people is, if it's going to go right and everything goes right, you'll make a classic. If the script is, everything leads back to the seed, which is the script, the idea, and then it's putting everything together, which is the hard part. But wow, like I think a lot of us have tried to emulate or reach that sort of level, but I'm still waiting.
I've got a really difficult question for you. What are your top 3 Carpenter films? Not what are his best. What are your favorites?
Okay, so my favorites, obviously number 1 is The Thing. I think that's my favorite film of all time,
and probably the best science fiction poster ever.
Yeah,
like I know the alien egg's amazing, but not the UK version of the poster, because it's like this cloud. The quad poster, the size it's this. It's a weird poster. The original Thing, it's not great. It's the Outpost 31 with like this weird red cloud thing, which is the creature.
Yeah.
So what are your top 3 favorites?
So The Thing, I'd then say Escape from New York, which probably isn't his most popular, but I
love it.
I love Snake Plissken, and I love the whole concept of like the island of New York, Manhattan, full of all the criminals.
It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I love that. And then my final one, which is is probably going to be I think it's probably not going to be one which anyone expects, which is Vampires.
I really enjoy Jack Crow.
Yeah, with Jack Crow and what's his name? I can't remember his name. James Wood.
Yeah.
I just really like that.
That has such a wonderful kill in that. Do you know which one I mean?
Is it where he takes his head off, where he decapitates it?
No, it's when they're all partying, thinking they've killed all the vampires, and one of the guys opens the door, and the vampire sticks his hand in and splits him in two with his hand. Yeah. I'm like, loving that. It. It was so good. I think it's a great film, and he's got, James Wood's he's got very strong political beliefs, but I think when he's on form, on fire, he's a wonderful actor, and you know what I mean? Yeah. He can, unless you're doing someone harm and you're really kind of causing friction, people can believe in what they want. That's the kind of freedom. You can believe in what you want. But for me, I think he's a brilliant actor, and he's such a good performer in that movie. I really enjoy it. Yeah, it's really cheesy in many ways, but I really, really enjoy it. My favorite, obviously, is The Thing. Yeah. I really love In the Mouth of Madness. I think that's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I probably say, God, it's so difficult. We could go around in circles about this. Yeah. I probably say The Fog. Maybe Escape from New York. No, They Live. I'm all over the place with it.
Oh, I totally forgot about They Live as well. I didn't even. Yeah.
Well, They Live is so on the money now. It's so on the money in terms of meaning. Why hasn't anyone remade it? I don't want them to be remade. If it gets remade, Carpenter gets paid again. And in a weird way, I'm happy about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he's doing well.
I think, he is obviously a lot of his films got panned and weren't that successful when they come out, but now become cult classics and legendary.
Yeah. So if The Thing came out in a different year, his career would have gone so differently. He's super successful. He's made a lot of money. He's, he's got millions of fans, you and I and millions of others. And his music, when he performed here 2016 in Manchester, it was amazing. It was amazing seeing him up there with his son and a couple of other people. Oh my God, it was so cool. And they had 3 sheets, 4 sheets, and they had rear projection of clips of the films whilst he was performing. And it was amazing. Oh mate, it was so much fun.
That's amazing.
But I once got a message off him because I sent him saying, because he loves video games. And I sent him a message about, what the hell's that? What's the hell's that science fiction horror game? Is it in space?
Oh, is it
Dead Space. Dead Space. Yeah. I said to him, you've got to make, I know he's kind of more interested in, enjoying his retirement or life, making his music, which is understandable. Yeah. But he said, I asked him, would you ever consider making Dead Space if he was given a chance? And, you never expect messages off these people, but he sent me a message back saying, yeah, I love playing Dead Space. It's one of my favorite games. I'd love to make it.
Oh, amazing.
Imagine if he made that. And a lot of it is giving him the budget, giving him he doesn't need it, because you look how well he's done under constraints of having a lower budget. He's done really well. Oh yeah. One we've forgotten is Prince of Darkness. Love Prince of Darkness. Yeah.
Prince of Darkness.
Oh my God. Do you know when that, I can't remember, is it BD Wong? I can't remember the actor's name.
Yeah.
It's in the cupboard. He's in the cupboard watching the 3 women, the 2 women are staring at him. That's so scary.
That was creepy. Yeah.
Oh my God. I that scares me so much, where they're staring at him. Just thinking about it now, it's something really scary about that film. That
was a real underrated entry into his film.
And I always go to touch the mirror at the end of the night when I watch that movie.
Yeah.
It's like a Candyman thing. Do you really tempt it? You really tempt it? Yeah.
It leaves that with you. But
did you know who the judges were from Hellbound from last year?
No.
Okay, so we had Alex Proyas that directed The Crow and Dark City. He was one of the judges. He was a really nice guy. He chose best film. We had Ramsey Campbell, which you mentioned, and the last judge is Joe Alves, and he is the production designer on Escape from New York. Oscar nominated for Close Encounters, got beaten by Star Wars, and he won BAFTA the same year for. He won the BAFTA for Close Encounters, but he did the production designing for Jaws. He designed the shark, and he did all the he did all set building for Jaws and all of that. And I asked him, there's an interview, you should check the Hellbound interview, the website, the interview with him, because I asked him about working with Carpenter, and I asked him about Starman. He was a production designer or production consultant for Starman. Starman is Carpenter's most underrated film. It's a wonderful, heartfelt, beautiful film. So he designed a lot of the stuff for that. And he worked with Hitchcock and Spielberg and Carpenter. It was like crazy. But
you can't get better judges.
Exactly,
really.
Yeah. So I asked him. He was a really nice guy, and he was like, his wife sent me his mobile number and address to kind of contact him and all of that. And it was great. Surreal moment. You're speaking to someone who you've been scared of that shark for so many years, Yeah. So my biggest questions for him were about Carpenter and like working with him, because production designer Escape from New York. So my biggest question, and he loved this, I said to him, whose idea were the chandeliers on the front of Isaac Hayes' car?
Yeah.
The droplets, the chandeliers on the front of his car.
Yeah,
I said, whose idea was that? And he started laughing. And he said, because my trick with any of these interviews, not with you, but with, the feature film directors and all of that. And now you're a feature film director, but with the icons and all of that, is asking questions they've not been asked before, because they move into kind of these lanes of stock answers. When I asked him about, it's really tricky, man. It's really tricky because you got to watch other interviews and that. So I asked him about the chandeliers, and he smiled, started laughing, and he said, "Well, that was my idea, because that chandelier in Titanic that's just a little dome."
Yeah.
The kind of one you kind of picture when you think of Titanic.
Yeah.
Well, the chandeliers were supposed to go in the back of Isaac Hayes' car. Like there was supposed to be one on the ceiling, and there was supposed to be shots inside the car. And they were supposed to be like King Willie from Predator 2, like the smoke coming out of his car, like all the weed and all of that. Like that's his little palace inside the car. And when his production purchaser, because he was their full production designer, he designed the plane that was broken apart, the Air Force One and all, everything he came up with Carpenter. And he said his production buyer brought the chandeliers to him, but they were hanging chandeliers on these arms. Like, how are we supposed to use these? And they bought like 4 of them, because in case of breakages, we can't use these. And it was Joe Alves that came up with the idea of sticking 2 of them like crane arms on the front of Isaac Hayes' car. I thought, let's do that. But they were real.
Wow.
They were real chandeliers on the front of the car. And he said to me, do you know what the problem, Alex, with doing that is? We broke so many of those, we had to keep buying them.
I can imagine they're not exactly they're fragile, aren't they? So
he loved working with Carpenter, and it was you got to watch the interview. It was really good fun. He pulls out his BAFTA at one point for Close Encounters, but Joe Alves is such a good dude and such a nice guy. He's retired. He does he's on Instagram. His daughter runs his Instagram, but doesn't post anything, but she follows stuff, and that's how I made contact with him. And he was such a good dude about the film. And just on a different note, I'm going to do a podcast about horror at some point. I don't know when to start it or how it's going to work, but I want to ask like yourself and a lot of other kind of horror fans about one film, and that's what each episode's about, is about one feature film. So we'll end up probably talking about it's all right. But we'll end up talking. You should come on board with that, and we should talk.
I'm definitely up for that.
Spend like a couple of hours talking about The Thing or something.
Yeah, I'll definitely be up for that. Yeah, 100%. Just hit me up and let me know.
Yeah. You'll see. I'll tag you in some posts and stuff when I kind of really kind of formulate the idea, and maybe I'll change the lighting, add some reds in and stuff. So
yeah, that sounds amazing. Yeah. That's a good idea.
But Bal, thank you so much, mate, and thank you so much for submitting Mother Mortis. It's so different. It's so different in many ways to other films we've got. So which I love, you know. There's no bad film. There's just different tastes and stuff. But I love horror, so and I look forward to seeing the second part. I look forward to seeing the feature film as well.
Yeah, I'll be sending them to you. Thank you.
If you can send a trailer when the submissions close the 23rd of this month.
Yeah.
We go through a process of sending we kind of whittle the film. There's a process we have to go through. We can't show every film to the judges, but we showcase all the films, and there's a whole process. So within that couple of weeks or so, we do that. I'll probably hit you up and say, if you got do you have a trailer at all? So it'll be a couple of weeks after the 23rd.
That's cool. I'll have it ready.
If you do have a trailer by then, and if you do a little piece to camera saying hi, and then say who you are. I submitted Mother Mortis, but I'm also working on a feature film, and IFF are supporting, in terms of helping me. And here's a showcase of the trailer for the feature film I'm working on. If you do something like that, I'm more than happy to put it in the live event as a pre-recorded segment.
I'll definitely get that done. Thank you so much.
And then you'll see, there'll be a bunch of people watching it live, and then there's at least, I think it was like 600-700 people at least watched the full live event last time, which we were really happy with. And you'll see there's going to be filmmakers from all over the world that see it. It's brilliant. It's fun exposure. It's it's a really kind of good process. We're supporting not mental health charity, but there's a filmmaker called Henry Tran, and he's a mental health advocate, because we've all gone through craziness this year. I had COVID pneumonia in December, and it was 2 weeks in hospital. I nearly died after 4 days. And the kind of everything everyone goes through. That's the reason we do the festival, because we're helping support people's better, keep them preoccupied and focus them, and helps them mentally. So we're doing little segments, little special things for the live event on the Sunday. I'd love to kind of help you with your feature film.
No, thank you so much. You're doing a great job, and
I want to see it at some point as well. I want to see it. I want to see a preview.
I will. What I'll do is I'll send you the premiere.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, I'd love to watch it. I'll. Well, I'm so glad you're such a big Carpenter and horror film.
Yeah, we're gonna get on.
I tell you what, stay there. I'll show you what the rest of this picture looks like.
Yeah, for sure. I'd like to see that.
I'll probably break this now.
Oh no, don't do that over me. I feel guilty.
So this is 185 out of 500. There's only 500 of these prints.
Wow.
And they're only a certain, I think all 500 were signed.
Oh, amazing.
But there's
I love that.
New York, you got Halloween.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's pretty cool, right? And the fog.
Wow, I love that.
It's pretty dope, right? And look at the Prince of Darkness at the bottom.
That looks amazing.
Yeah,
lovely.
So I don't buy too much, but I like little things. So I'm so glad you're a Carpenter fan. Like we're gonna be good friends from now on, mate.
Definitely.
And maybe we'll do some sort of live watch along with the thing, possibly.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I'd be definitely.
We'll do something, man. Yeah, maybe it can be the first episode of the series or something like that.
Yeah, hit me up. I'd definitely down.
Yeah. So, I'm so glad you came on board, mate, and thank you so much for being on the podcast. Sorry it took so long to sort out. No, it's just that I've got there's so many different things, and there's a lot of craziness going on. I'm getting married in 3 weeks, so
congratulations! I know. I hope you have a brilliant day. Man.
Yeah, well, it's really kind of a simple process. My missus is from her family are from she's born in Wales, but her family are from the Punjab region, North India. So we're having a little bit of ceremonial stuff and all.
That's where I'm from.
Oh, really? Awesome.
Yeah, that's where my family comes from as well. So we've got even more in common now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Language.
Yeah, you never know. Might be related someday, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's called Vicky. She's pretty amazing. We've got this little dog now as well called Frida, after Frida Kahlo, the artist.
I love it.
And on a yeah, I'll mention this anyway. I might cut this out. I don't know. But you said your dad had a heart attack a couple of years ago or so.
Yeah.
Vicky's dad had a heart attack 2 days ago. So yeah, it's crazy, and he's a wonderful guy, and I always say Ram to him every day and all of that. We've got a really good bond. He's a really top guy, and yeah, and I love kind of her family and that. So yeah, we've got a strong bond, and
yeah, I hope he recovers, and I'll
yeah.
I'll send some prayers where
I wouldn't have this room, I wouldn't have this house, like he did so much on this house, and he's such a wonderful guy, and I appreciate that, mate. And yeah, it's difficult. It's extremely difficult when these things happen, but yeah, that's why we all kind of throw ourselves into movie making and filmmaking, because it's a pleasant distraction. Not render times, not waiting for things to render.
No,
but
yeah, let's not talk about render times.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you like the lament configuration. It's pretty dope, isn't it?
I'm really impressed. Yeah, I'm really impressed.
So check out Wave Props. It's like a little Japanese animation thing. But yeah, we'll definitely be keeping in touch, Bal, and I'll let you know what the process is, and where you're at. I think your episode, have I said when it's coming out? No, that's some other chap. So I think yours will be towards the end of next week when it comes out. So it's going to be, because I've ramped up how many we do. Obviously, like you've probably seen them, we only doing 15.
Yeah.
And I think yours is going to be number 6. And then there's like a backlog of people that have asked. So I'm just going chronologically in the email to do the fairest way. And it's going to be fun, man. And the judges we've got are really good. Like Akiko Sterenberg is amazing. She's done posters for the Coen Brothers. She designed.
She's one of the best.
Yeah, she's amazing. Her work is so original. She's super sound. And Garter Brun Austin from South Africa, his documentary filmmaking is amazing. And Michael and Jessica Chan from Talking with a Malsoul podcast. That's a great podcast based in Toronto. They're great people, really good people as well. And I do a podcast with his wife called Slayer Talk about Buffy the Vampire Slayer, because I love hardcore horror like Driller Killer, but then I like Buffy as well. So you know what I mean? That's like the full
classic.
Yeah, exactly. So we do that podcast every couple of weeks, and we record. And we recorded one last night actually about season 2, episode 3 and 4. So we're going through all of it.
I'll make sure
it'll take us years. Yeah, it's just Slayer Talk on Instagram and that, but it's all linked to Hellbound and gets released through that. But Bal, thank you so much, mate, and it's an absolute pleasure to meet you, and we're going to be friends from now on as well.
Yeah, definitely, man. Like, keep in contact, and it's a pleasure to be on.
Yeah, we'll end up making something together as well, a short film or something,
Yeah, 100%, man. Like, once all this COVID stuff now is dying down, we'll link up and we'll do it.
Absolutely, yeah. 100%. No matter what, we'll be doing something, a podcast or something together. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, man. I'm up for that.
All right. Well, enjoy the rest of the evening, mate. And thankfully, you live in the UK, so the time zone's not crazy for me today. So
Yeah, you can still go and have some food now.
I can still see daylight through the blind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Top man. So I'm probably gonna end up watching The Thing now.
Yeah, I think I might do the same, man.
Yeah.
I think I might do the same.
All right. Really great to meet you, mate. And thank you so much for submitting Mother Mortis. And I can't wait to see the second one.
Thank you, bro.
See you soon, mate. You take it easy. See you later. Oh, one last thing. Is the photo you sent to me the one you're happy with to use on the poster art?
Yeah. It's me in action. So yeah.
Yeah, awesome. That's how I'm always looking for behind the scenes photos to use for things as well. All right, see you soon, mate.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.